Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Friday the Product Owner and TGIF episode, this week with Manuele Piastra. Hey Manuele, TGIF!
Yes. Very happy to meet you again.
So we'll dive into product owners and hopefully describe what an excellent product owner looks and behaves like. But before we dive into that, we do want to take a stroll through the horror street of the anti-patterns. It won't be too long, but we do need to recognize those and to be able to identify them. So share with us, Manuele, what was potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career?
I've seen many, but I can possibly phrase them all under one sentence and then give some examples of actual things that happen, right? So the product owner is a product manager or a project manager. So they manage the delivery of the product and the team.
How does that look like in practice, in your experience?
That looks like they assign the work to team members. The stories are not stories about tasks. So do this. They focus less on the why and the vision, and they actually say, this is the stuff that needs to be done. They prepare the stories, let's say, in quotes, up to the last detail, and then they feed it to the team. So they are a work feeding machine to the team. Sometimes they also do, and I found this very disruptive. They don't only assign the work to team members, but depending, maybe they get some pressure from senior stakeholders and stuff. There's something very critical. Oh, this has to be done this week. So they keep pushing stuff into the sprint, and sometimes they go to the most experienced engineers saying, oh, please, can you work on this? It needs to be ready in 2 days. You're the best in the team. And, I'll get you out to lunch if you close this. Stuff like that, which is really disruptive.
And through that practice also kind of deviate the team from the original goal that they had into this more pressing short-term needs.
Yes, and it deviates from the idea of working as a team. By doing this, they break the team dynamics, and they actually are feeding siloed individuals into siloed work, and they break the collaboration dynamics.
So what can we do as Scrum Masters when working with people, product owners that we see seem to be wanting to take this approach? What has worked to help these product owners in your experience, Manuele?
So two scenarios come to mind, actually from my past. So one scenario is you approach the product owner, or the product owner approaches also you and say, we're going to work together. I'm open to feedback, and let's work together closely. If that happens, so if the product owner is behaving as a product manager or a project manager because they don't know better, right? Then, but they're open to get feedback, can be coached by the Scrum Master. Then what you can do as a Scrum Master is realizing that your relationship with the product owner is key for the success of yourself and the team. Make time, even having like a weekly one-to-one, or make yourself available to support the product owner, and giving feedback, constructive feedback in a very empathic way, and then really develop the relationship with the product owner to the point where they trust you. They know that if you give feedback, it's for the best, and really working together. of course, the product owner might also, and usually they do have very great feedback for you as a Scrum Master. So really nurture the relationship as best as possible. If the other scenario instead is the product owner is executing per the mandate, right? So they are being the project manager because we are doing what we said a few days ago. It's Scrum by going through the motions, right? I believe it was Monday. So in that case, it's harder because the product owner is not necessarily willing to listen to to be coached by you or listen to you. This can be even trickier if the product owner is a very senior role with great business knowledge, but also used to tell others what to do and not really listen to feedback. So there's a power dynamic, right? And they might think, who are you to come and coach me when I know, so well everything about finance, right? So I know everything about the industry and the business, and you not necessarily, most likely not. So why should I be coached by you? So in this case, again, we need to go back to the sponsors and redefine the expectation, the coaching contract, and redefine why am I here? Because if I can't coach a key role like the product owner, and if the team doesn't have the product owner they deserve to succeed, there's very little chance of succeeding. I never, in my whole career, I never seen a team that managed to be high-performing team when the PO role is dysfunctional.
Of
Never.
course, and when you say it that way, it seems so obvious. But yet, when we are there in the field, we sometimes get kind of embroiled into this situation and try to kind of just cope with it instead of, as you said, have that conversation with the sponsors and say, hey, here's the situation. If we go this way, there's no way the team can succeed.
Yeah. One scenario, again, in this case, could be really getting out of here, right? If there is no willingness to be coached or change or listen to feedback, then the scenario could be, I don't think I'm bringing value here.
Absolutely. Of course, not all product owners are like this, and some are actually exceptionally good. And that's one example we want to explore right now, Manuele. So share with us the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
So the best product owners I've worked, they start from the why. They start from developing a compelling vision. They start from making it very clear who are the customers, the personas of this product. But not only that, right? So sometimes I've heard and I read, and the product owner is the proxy to the team towards the external world. I do agree to that to a certain point, but I think that the product owner should help the team members also get directly in touch with the customers and with the stakeholders. So yes, they are the proxy, because of course, the team has ultimately the goal to deliver a valuable increment of work every sprint if they work with Scrum. So that takes focus, right, and time and expertise. So they have their own expertise and goals. But I've seen PO, this PO, for example, allowing team members to say, go and talk to that customer, go and talk to that stakeholder. But also one very, very nice experiment was the product owner invited on a rotation-based team members to listen to customer support, supporting real customers. So there's the call going on and you are there with your earphones. You don't talk, but you listen to the real challenges of customers calling this customer support. And I found that there was a great way to bring everyone back to, we are doing this for someone, and our first priority is the customer, right? We deal with the how. Yes, as a team, we deal with the how, but let's not forget that this is for someone. They have real, pragmatic, clear challenges, and we need to tackle those. They are very good, great product owner. They are very good at explaining the rationale behind prioritizations. They offer data. They do research. They don't just say, we'll go for, this is more important than that. They also explain why. So they kind of raise the product IQ of the team. Everyone in the team becomes a little bit more of product savvy. They become more product savvy, still keeping their focus, but they learn, right? They learn how to do a great demo. They learn how to present a product. They learn how to speak the language of the stakeholders in demos or in any other opportunity. And they stop caring about how the team is dividing the work and taking the work on board and how they get to solutions. They frame the problems very clearly. Stories, again, this has been mostly misunderstood in many places. I don't know about your experience, but most of the time stories are just bad requirements. But stories originally were not supposed to be a requirement. They were supposed to be a problem statement. So the product owner is supposed to frame the problem, and the team, they find the best solution. And
that's the only way they can find a solution, right? Like
yes.
If the story is the solution, then there's nothing the team can do other than code.
Exactly. And so by doing that, first of all, you might hint them down the wrong solutions, because you're not an expert of solution as a product owner. You shouldn't be. So you might push them down the wrong solution. Second, they will feel that they've lost the joy of the job, right? They've lost their autonomy. I'm just writing some code, but everyone told me in the story everything up to the last detail. So I'm just like a coding monkey, which is not, usually is not motivating for many people. So yes, this is what I've seen. But good product owners do exist, and I had the pleasure of working with at least 2 or 3. When you work with a great product owner in the team and you're a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, it feels very easy. You recognize that because you feel that it's much easier.
Yeah, you're not struggling all the time, and the discussions are about understanding customers, understanding problems, and the team feels that they can solve those problems on their own.
Yes. Yeah.
Manuele, it's been a great week. Unfortunately, we're getting close to the end. But before we go, do share with us, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
So I am I work with, and I'm the director of Agile Reloaded UK. So, of course, you can find me on agilereloaded.com, where you can get in touch. Of course, LinkedIn, and I can give my email address. I don't know if that's something that you do usually. Yeah. So my email is manupia@gmail.com or manuele.piastra@agilereloaded.com. And always excited to help someone face a challenge. When you help someone, you learn yourself. So I'm always happy, whenever I have some time to go back to people and help them.
Absolutely. And why not take that offer, a generous offer by Manuele, and connect with him and ask a few follow-up questions. Manuele, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for me too, and thanks for having me.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. So join us at scrummasterpodcast.com and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more full week of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.